Hey there, Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. Welcome to day 286 of our BU 365-day challenge to do one thing every day that improves us in some way. Today we're talking about the push paradox. This paradox basically says that the harder you push for something, the harder it's going to feel to achieve it. So if you're struggling or stressing or anxious or doubtful or worried about achieving something, and you're pushing and pushing and pushing and struggling and hustling to achieve it, the harder it's going to feel to actually achieve that thing. Get that thing that you want in your life. Whether it's a relationship, have you ever been in a relationship where you wanted it more than the other person, and you pushed and pushed and pushed to the point where they went away? The harder it is to achieve certain things. Now, I think this has to do with the law of attraction, and that what we put out into the world in terms of energy and desire is what we get back. But a lot of times when we're thinking about what we want, and we're imagining it, we're actually thinking more about not having it, not achieving it, than we are focusing on actually making it happen in our life. And I use a little tool called the flip switch. So if I have a goal or an objective, if there's something that I want and I feel like I'm working hard toward it, if I feel like I'm having to push and struggle and hustle and really grind or work for something, then I know I need to back off and pay attention to what I'm actually thinking at a conscious and subconscious level versus what I think that I'm thinking. Because in the past, I found that when I was really struggling with something, this is one of the places where I learned to ask for help, or ask the questions and ask different questions to remove a block that I was personally causing in my creating something in my life. A lot of times we don't realize that we're doing this, but our beliefs are in conflict, and we've talked about that a lot this year. Sometimes what we think we want and that we're focusing on that is not what we're actually focusing on. We're focusing on the lack of it or not having it yet. If I ever think I'm not there yet, or I don't have something yet, guess what? I'm focusing on the lack of that thing. I'm not remembering to visualize and imagine what it's going to be like to have that thing as if I have it already. So I might not be doing a terrific job in explaining this, but today our action item is to think about and share one thing that you have really pushed hard for or worked hard for. I can think of so many examples of this. And again, when I noticed, and I didn't used to know this, I used to just struggle and hustle and grind like everybody else did, thinking that's what I had to do. But it was when I learned that sometimes letting go and detaching ourselves from the outcome, but imagining it as if it already exists, got me there faster than all the plotting and planning and strategizing and effort and work that I was putting into something. I can think of so many things that this is true for. My son's education. When my son was younger, he had dyslexia and dysgraphia, and you may or may not know what that is, but learning differences, I call them. People call them disabilities, but they're not. They're just learning differences. And I find it fascinating that with children, we don't teach them in the way that's right for them. But as adults, and I guess as adults, it's our responsibility to figure out how do we learn and how do we absorb information, and then we figure it out ourselves and we do it. But somehow we need to do that for children. So I found myself pushing very hard against the traditional education system to try to help him get the things that he needed to be successful. Different businesses, I would find that I was pushing and pushing and pushing, trying to get a new client or a new customer for one of my businesses. And the more I pushed, it was about me wanting something. I was forgetting to put them in the picture and saying and asking myself, what is it that they need, that they want, that would want, that they want to come and be attracted to doing business with us. Pushing for different certifications and goals and objectives and educational levels and things, and professional courses and things. I lost count of and lost track of how many of those things I've done, and different certifications. But again, when I was learning and training for these certifications, I would catch myself really struggling or pushing so hard to try to understand something, and I realized that I was blocking myself. And then when I got out of my own way, imagine that, all of a sudden things flowed, and it clicked in my brain the things that I needed to know and do or not do, because a lot of times we just need to get out of our own way. in order to get what I wanted. So, push paradox, the harder I push for something, the harder it will feel to achieve it. Again, we need to know what our long-term vision is and have that in mind, but we need to be focusing on having it, not on the lack of having it. All right, that's our paradox for today. Any questions, hit me up. Otherwise, I will be with you tomorrow. We're going to cover another paradox. I didn't peek ahead and see what it was. I don't know what it is. It's on the next page of my notes, so it'll be a surprise for you and me. All right, have an awesome day. Go back off and not push for something you want, but I guess I should add the caveat. Hard work is always required, or work is an effort and energy is always required to achieve anything we want. We need to take action. We can't just sit back and think things are going to fall in our laps. It doesn't happen that way. We get out of everything and our life and the world and our relationships and everything, our jobs, our associations, what we put into them. We don't get out more than what we put into something. There's always a balance in our universe. All right, have an awesome day. I'll be with you tomorrow.